AFTV, Dan, we've just watched the game together. Convincing 4-0 result against Bournemouth, away from home, clean sheet, 4 goals. What about the performance? What did you make of it overall?
Comfortable. Very comfortable. If I'm honest, Bournemouth are a side that actually play quite attractive football. I can't lie to you, but luckily we didn't really allow them to do too much of that today. I didn't feel like Bournemouth were peppering our goal or showing any signs that they were going to get the better of us. I think it was a very calm, controlled, composed performance. And I've said that many times away from home this season, Turkish. It does seem, doesn't it, that we get a little bit, I think Mikel said it, too emotional at home. And I'm going to ask the question, what are you going to do about that as a manager then? Because we've got to be using that as the fortress. We come away from home and it just feels really comfortable. It's just so strange. Yeah. Keeping clean sheets defensively tonight again, I thought we were immense. I think Gabriel and Saliba, I have to ask the question why that wasn't the pairing at the start of the season, because for me it just complements each other so well. You know, absolutely fantastic. Good to see Ben White putting in a good performance today as well and getting the goal, because I feel like the last couple he's been a little bit off of it, but it was good to see him back today. And then moving forward, there's about 4 or 5 players you can talk about being great today, which is always good. You know, it wasn't long ago where Bukayo Saka was star boy. Every week he was the one carrying us across the line. We don't get that now. You know, everyone looks to be getting themselves involved. And there was a lot of good performances today, mate, a lot.
Before we get into individual performances, when the lineup came out, obviously he went with, you know, the attack that he went with against Tottenham, which didn't quite work out for us. How do you think they fared today?
Listen, when you pick the team again, it's a brave move with the same team that didn't really work against Tottenham in the North London derby. I said it, didn't I, on the starting 11. Make sure it works. Yeah. And I think today it did, to be fair. I don't think Eddie Nketiah was poor. I thought today his energy and his drive was good, and I thought that he perhaps should have done a little bit better. There's times, not just Eddie, the few of our players just seem reluctant to shoot. And I find that frustrating. It's always a bit like in the Wenger days, trying to score the perfect goal. Just have a dig, because, you know, this is how you get confidence and breed confidence and start to get those convincing wins. And today we obviously got that. I think for me, Jesus down the middle, I do miss it, bruv. I can't lie to you. And I know today we didn't, because everybody else has got on that score sheet. I want to see Jesus lined up in the middle against Manchester City. I've got to see that for me. And I just feel like he brings a lot more players into play. I think he works effort, like unbelievable amount of effort on the left hand side, but for me through the middle it just is levels above what we need. So brave decision, had to work. Kai Havertz, wasn't surprised to see him, because obviously our injuries at the moment ain't great. And he's probably one of the ones that people were all honed in on. I'm not going to start to say he had a fantastic game because he scored a penalty. It was a very good penalty, I'll give you that. But I'm not going to start getting excited about the guy. He's played well with what he had to do. He's kept the ball. He's headed it. He's won tackles. He's fought back. I get all that, but I need to see a little bit more going that way from Kai Havertz. And I don't know whether we're going to see that at the moment. So they were the ones for me. Obviously, Ødegaard and Rice, everyone's talking about, and rightly so. I thought Ødegaard today to score, to get the penalty, to win the penalties, to assist, pretty much did everything, didn't he? And along with Declan Rice, who I just think Turkish has definitely, for me, talk about consistent performances. I've not seen this guy have a less than a 8 or 9 out of 10 every single game. He's just been unbelievable. And this guy, what I love and respect so much is, I really liked him at West Ham and I really liked his performances internationally, but he's come into this Arsenal side and I thought, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of money, it might take you a little bit longer than perhaps people think. No, straight in, best performance, and I'm thinking, we're 7 games in and he's been one of our best players in every single game. Like, I think we need to start putting credit where it's due to this guy, man. He's been immense. And people will talk about signings of the summer. They won't mention him because of how much he cost. But actually, if you look at the importance of where he can take us to the next level, I think he's got to be up there with one of them, man. I was really impressed with him today.
I think that's key. I think if we do go on and potentially win a league title or win a major competition this year, everyone will start rating the Rice signing a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm 100%. And, you know, like, the good thing about him is he can play anywhere. He can play in that holding midfield. People say he can play centre-half. We haven't seen that yet. The number 8, I'd love to see that. I really would against City. Once Partey gets back, I want to see this Partey Rice Ødegaard, because in my mind, it just sounds incredible. We've got to see it on paper. It sounds incredible. We've got to see it in action. And I think Rice could do that number 8 role. I do. I think Rice driving forward. We've seen it in games for West Ham and Arsenal. He has been able to get to make late runs. He has been able to drive forward. He has been able to bring the team into that situation. And I think when you look at what Granit Xhaka did last year, we haven't seen it replaced because of what Kai Havertz has been so far. Rice could be that guy for me. And I know he's great as an anchor. I understand that as a 6, he's superb. But I do believe that we've got enough quality. He's got enough quality, for that number 8 role as well, man.
You mentioned you want to see him in the 8 role, so I'll move on to the Manchester City game and ask, do we take the game to Manchester City being the home team? Because Declan Rice is the best destroyer we have in midfield. You play him in the 6 and he can protect the defence, and if Manchester City do, hold on to possession like we'd all expect them to, then I guess that suits him best. But if you play him in the 8 role, a bit further up, closer to the final third, we can essentially try pin Manchester City back, which would be quite a bold tactic to go in with.
Listen, it would. For me, the question mark is not where Rice plays, is Thomas Partey fit? Because if Thomas Partey's fit, he plays in the 6, and then we see Rice in the 8, and we go for it. Because everybody, I believe, knows our best 11 on paper is last year's 11 with Rice instead of Xhaka, right? We haven't been able to play that at all so far this season because of injuries. If Partey is back for Manchester City, there's rumours that he might be. If he is, I want to see Rice in the 8. And we go for it. We go for it. We shouldn't sit there and go, this is Manchester City. Let's hold back. Let's calm it down. Let's make sure it's... Go for it. Go for it. I think we're good enough.
So on that then, another question that's just popped into my mind. If Partey is fit, would you prefer Rice playing the 8, or would you prefer a double pivot with Partey and Rice in front of the defence?
No, I think Rice can play the 8 because you go for it. And the thing is with Rice, he's not going to be caught up like at the corner flag. He's one of these guys who's defensively minded. He's always got that intelligence about him. So that's why I'm even more excited to see him on the 8. With Granit Xhaka, it was like, don't do the defending, Granit. Just concentrate on this new role that you do, because I don't want any liability, red cards. And to be fair, when he did defensively do his duty, he did it well last season. But I don't get that with Rice. I'm cool with the defensive side. He's proven that over the last few years. I think actually his game will be more learning about how he can go forward and how he can turn more into the kind of Cesc Fabregas side of game that we all miss and love. So I think that's what he needs to try to improve on his game. He said he wants more goals. He's already scored a really important goal for us. Let's hope he gets another run at the weekend against Man City. I'll be playing that trio if they're fit.
And the one downer today is Saka coming off injured. A lot of questions to Mikel about whether he should have been taken off earlier, whether he was even ready for this game. But I think we could see he was ready. But I do also think we saw that he could have done with an extra layer of protection, especially being 3-0 up.
I don't get this one. I was screaming at the TV thinking, why is this guy still on? It was 58 minutes at one point and I thought 3-0, let's get him off. Let's just get him off. And then he made 2 subs. I thought, thank God for that. Tomiyasu and Nelson, I think it was. And Zinchenko and Eddie come off. And I'm thinking, why are we resting Eddie? Why is Eddie coming off here? This is mad for me. So I understand that he's done a lot of running. Don't get me wrong. The other night against Brentford, and he played 104 minutes at the North London derby. Totally appreciate that. You can take them both off though. Saka staying on was crazy for me. And then obviously it gets to about 65, 70 goes past and I'm thinking he's still on. Then he gets crocked. And it was like, I think everybody was screaming, going, did you not see that happening? And I know that it might not have happened. He's still got to have a bit of unluck for that to happen. But the guy's just come back from an injury. He's walked off hobbling in the North London derby. He had to miss the Brentford game, didn't travel, hasn't trained all week. And you're making him play over 70 minutes. This is where I think sometimes he's still learning, Mikel Arteta. That sort of stuff, is that actually lack of experience? Is that just lack of intelligence? Because for me, that's obvious. So I hope it isn't long. It didn't look good. He's definitely not going to, I imagine, travel now to Lens. But we've got to make sure and pray that he's fit against Man City because, I asked yourself about who do we play. Listen, I probably would agree with you and go Reece Nelson. But that's a massive drop-off for a Man City game that we have to win. And that is it. I'm accepting a win against them. If we want to be serious about a title, we have to win. And we need Bukayo Saka for that game, man. So it's going to be touch and go, I imagine. This kid just seems to keep coming back. But 87 consecutive games now or something. This was always going to happen at some point. And I just hope it ain't long term, man.
Yeah, because we saw what happened to Jack Wilshere, having been played a certain amount of games at a certain level, and essentially his career died out pretty early on, which was unfortunate. Last question: Manchester City. How confident are you a week before that game that we can get the win? I was about to say result, but the reality is we're the home team, and I think it's time to look for a win now.
How confident am I? Never unbelievably confident against one of the best sides I've ever seen. I've got to be honest. I can't sit there and lie to you. Having said that, if our players are fit, without KDB and Rodri, I think we can do them at home. I really do. Wolves have just beaten them. Newcastle have beaten them midweek. I understand it's different teams in its rotation, but that's going to hurt them. That's really going to hurt them. They've got a chance to make up for that in midweek as well, like everybody else has with Champions League football, which I'm sure they'll win. But for me, going into this game, the crowd are going to be bang up for it. We know we have to win if we want to be serious about this. The minute they beat us, everyone's going to be, Arsenal aren't serious. We need to be serious. We need to beat them. And with the team that I believe we'll have, which I'm hoping and praying is players back, Partey being back, if Saka's fair, Trossard and Martinelli are being spoken about, if we get them players back, why can't we beat them, Turkish?
I hear you, Dan. Love, man.